Welcome back to the University of Queensland School of Architecture Introductory Series to Rhino and Grasshopper. We're going to continue with our SimpleTower data extraction exercise. Now, we're going to use an external export tool that's a little bit more sophisticated than just simply exporting data out of a panel. Now, Grasshopper is an open sourced and community driven platform which has its benefits, and there are many tools that you can enhance the functionality of your Grasshopper application. Now, there's a separate document that steps you through where to find this information and how to install it. But for this exercise, I have an add-on called TT Toolbox, and I'll be using a function in that TT Toolbox to do a live export to Excel. So, clicking up into the tab TT Toolbox, we have a series of a variety of tools, and this is the one that we're looking at there, Excel. So there's different ways that we can use Excel as a either information kind of holding system, or even a way of inputting data into the model itself through these three functions through here. So we've got a way of importing data from Excel. So perhaps if you have a series of points that might be survey points and so on in an Excel spreadsheet, you might use this one. This one is just controlling the way that Excel, the data writes to Excel, but this is the simple tool here that we want to write to Excel. So we're going to pull that up through here. So I'm going to just pop my panel. I might just delete that for now, and we'll go into here. So I'll just tighten these up a little bit through there, give ourselves a bit more space. Okay, so when using a new tool, you can always click on the middle and pull up the help, and it'll explain what the various inputs are, what they mean, and kind of how to set up the data. It's sometimes very cryptic, and basically a lot of the time you just have to suck it and see what happens. Now we're going to work systematically down through this. So the first one is saying, do you want to write data Excel? This is, I guess, an on-off switch. The reason is because if we have this running all the time, it kind of, whenever we change the model, the function of this tool is that it'll automatically update to Excel, which takes up processing time on your computer and reduces your capacity. So I'm going to get a Boolean toggle through there. So if we click on that, true, false, false is off, true is on. So we're going to keep it to off at the moment. Okay, now it's asking for a worksheet. So what it's looking for, I guess, is either a worksheet to write into, or a name of the worksheet. So I think by default it'll automatically just jump into the first worksheet of Excel, and it's referring to these sheets through here. But we're going to try here, and we're going to do a tab called GFA, gross floor area, and we'll then put in that worksheet, double click, we'll get a panel, and we'll put GFA. And so what we're telling this tool is we want you to import into this open tab through here, GFA. Okay, so the next one in the line is the column names as a list. So although we want to just dump this information into Excel, it might be useful to actually give it a title, so that the information is going to stream through there, and we want to title it at the top through there. So what we'll do is we'll pull up a panel, and we'll call the top of this column, what do we call it? We'll just call it GFA. Oh no, we'll do gross floor area. Okay, so we'll plug that into there. Now we are going to just run this as columns, so putting the rows through here is unnecessary at this stage. Now this here is write options. Now we don't have to worry too much about that. That's what this tool here is. So we can get more control over the write options by sort of plugging, you know, if we wanted to get this tool here, fine-tune the way that information comes in and then plug that into this tool here before it writes to the Excel file. So we don't need to worry about that there. Now this one here is saying, do you want to write the data as columns or rows? Now we've already decided that we want to run this down as columns, so we just have to read the boolean, and it says write data as columns or rows. So true equals rows, false equals columns, and what it's coming up with is true, which means that it's going to write as columns. So we need to change that. So we're going to right click, set boolean to false, and we'll just tick that. So now it will write as columns. Now here's the important bit. We want the data to actually come into to populate the Excel sheet. Now we've got the data through here, so what we'll do is we'll get the data, and so we'll just quickly have a look what's going in. And as you can see through here, we're getting a bit more complicated sort of set of data. It's a second hierarchy order of data, because we can see that there's two indexes there. So we might actually have to flatten this information before it goes into Excel. So if we look at it now, it's the same data. Oops, come out, but it's a simplified list. So we'll get rid of that, and we'll plug it in to the data. We'll toggle it to true, so it's gone grey. So fingers crossed this will actually work. Ta-da! And so there we have there. So we've got the gross floor area, and we've got a list through there. Now let's try and be a little trickier here. Now if we wanted to say add multiple streams to this Excel write, what we might want to do is, I guess, add, say, the floor number to the equation through here. So what we have to do, again, remembering back to our data matching, we have to be careful how we start to fold data one into the other, so it makes logic to Grasshopper. Now let's, for example, let's get another, oops, what am I doing here? Let's generate another column, and we'll call this one floor level. Okay, so perhaps the logical way is to have over here, oops, come back, a column here with the floor numbers and then the areas next to it. So we'll put the floor level and the gross floor area. So these are just the titles, the text that goes into the top of the columns. Now we have to sort of fold these into this column layout in a much easier way. So we're going to do this with a merge so that it's super clear. this will be at the top of the list. This is the second part of the list, and then we're going to plug that into there. So there's a logic in the way that it comes out. So again, if we pull a panel out here and plug that into there, you'll see it'll go floor level, gross floor area. So that's how it will come into the Excel spreadsheet. Now we have the floor levels already generating for us. So if we just get a flattened tree, we have already the floors generating through here. So let's get a series of numbers out of this through here. So what we might do is we'll set up a new series. We'll connect this over to our series, and we'll just do that as a count. So again, if we have a look at the information coming out of here, it should just give us a list of the floor. Yeah, list of the floor numbers. So and then we'll plug this one into the flatten. Now you can start to see that when you start to pull data in from a long way away, the spaghetti becomes a little bit out of control. So I'm going to do a tricky thing here. I'm going to change the wire display to a hidden, so it gives us like a little radio signal, just neatens it up, but if we click on it we can see the connection coming through. Now what we'll have to do is add another, I'll just delete that through there, I'll put that into there. We're going to have to just manage this information. So you can see through there, if we put a merge before it goes into, we'll put that in the data stream 1. You can see here the name of the path of the flattened is 0 here, and the name of the path is 0 there as well. So if we put the merge into here and put a panel, what we'll see is that everything will be coming in one list, and it will just come with the floor numbers and then the areas after this. So it's all coming through as the one thing, but in fact we want 2 columns, so this is not actually going to help us. So what we need to do is we need to change so that these are unique list numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a panel. I'm going to number the first one 0, plug that into there, copy, paste that, and I'm going to just go and call that 1. Okay, so if we look here now, what we should see is a list of the numbers, which is 0, and a list of the areas, which is 1. So it's split it into 2 lists, one after the other, and the sequence of it will then correspond with the data as it's sort of streaming in through here. So I'm going to then connect this to the data, delete this, and hopefully when we come into here, ta-da, we have our floor levels and our areas next to it. So we'll continue with this a little bit more in the next video. Thanks.